Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
All right, good evening. Sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. I had an engagement earlier today, so it took me longer than anticipated. So we'll start immediately. Just some seconds. Okay, so can someone tell us what our topic last week was, and of course, as our practices, what were the lessons that take home? Someone needs to mute Mr. Elijah. Can you please mute your mic? Okay. Can someone tell us what we learned last week? Quickly, quickly. Ah, is it that everybody coming here, we are just joining for the first time, or why is the house so silent? Can anyone hear me? Am I audible? Aha. So please, our time is fast spent. So please let's I need to hear from us. What was our topic last week? And so we'll know where to start for today. What did we learn last week?
The difference between industry and the firm
Okay.
and type of industry.
Go on.
Perfect market and imperfect market, and the types of industry.
Okay.
Then you also made mention of the five forces of model.
Okay. So that means we spoke about competitive forces. Is that it?
Yes, yes, that was our
Yes, we
topic.
discussed competitive forces.
Yes.
So we will discuss competitive forces. And I recall that I gave us a topic for this week.
Yes, sir.
So what did I call it?
Professional practices and code of entries.
Okay,
Ethics.
professional practices and code of ethics. Okay. Okay. All right. So just a second. I'm trying to check my notes. Mhm. Okay, professional practice and code of ethics. I have a few. Okay, so just to ask, have we talked about culture and ethics? I'm having a feeling I omitted a topic.
No, we have not. We
We
have not.
covered culture. We covered culture and ethics. We covered.
We've covered culture and ethics.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. So that means I'm covered.
When we discuss the outer layer, the inner layer, and the heart,
Exactly.
we've covered that.
Exactly. Okay, so let me start. Professional code of ethics. Tonight, I'm going to start from what we refer to as ethical stance. Ethical stance. And I'm sure at one point or the other, you must have heard the word stance. Stance in as it pertains to ethics. You know, when we say stance, stance simply means is another word that we refer to as position. We can it is coined from the word stand. Where do you belong? When you say what is your stand, we can say that what is your position on a particular matter. So when we say ethical stance can be defined as the position that an individual assumed in an ethical matter or situation. So ethical stance for an individual, it simply means the position the position on a matter that an individual believe to be right. So when you hear, for instance, if something happened between two individuals, and as an accountant, as a professional accountant, they can come to you and say, okay, what did you see to this case? What's your view? What's your opinion? How can you advise? And all of those. You will say, in my own view, I think Mr. Lagbaja is actually wrong. I think he should not have done that. So in your own view, you feel that what the person has done is right or wrong. That is what we refer to as ethical stance. Now, where I'm really going tonight is whistleblowing, but I just feel it's important for us to have this background knowledge before we go proper into the concept of whistleblowing. So Johnson and Scholes, they were the one that Johnson and Scholes 2002. That was when the theory of ethical stance started, and they suggested that a company can take four different positions. If a company can take four different ethical stance, and that is in any given scenario, in any given situation, what an organization will deem. Somebody typing. Okay, sorry. It's AI assistant. So what an organization will deem to be right or wrong is based on four different position or view. Number one, for an organization to think that a matter is ethical, first it has to focus on maximizing the short long-term shareholders interest. It must aim at maximizing the long-term shareholders interest. The second one is, of course, apart from the long-term shareholders interest, we believe that there is also what we call short-term shareholders interest. And of course, when you hear short-term shareholders interest, one of the key short-term shareholders interest is profitability. Yes, because profitability is something that every shareholder investing in a business would want to happen in a very short time. Of course, long term can now be maybe the company having branches and other arm of the business that could be in the long run. Another view that a company can take as when it becomes a stance is that there must be multiple stakeholder obligation. That is recognizing obligation to different stakeholder group. And the last one is being a shaper of the society. So every organization will consider these four key things. According to Johnson and Scholes, their proposition is that before a matter can be deemed right or wrong by an organization, these four key things has to be put into consideration. The matter at hand, how will it maximize shareholder interest in the short run? How will it maximize shareholders interest in the long run? Then again, what are the obligations of different stakeholder group? Lastly, is that will it enable us to be the shaper of society? So speaking to these four areas, they are the things that an organization will look and for them to make an ethical stance. Now, the question is, why are we looking at these stances? We are looking at these four stances because when ICANN wants to set the question, when they want to give us question on this ethical stance, they will not tell us to look at this stance. What they will say is to give, what they will do rather is to give us a case study. Excuse me, you will get a case study whereby you will be asked to analyze the different position in the case scenario at hand. In the case scenario at hand, then you can now be asked to say, okay, what will be the position of company ABC Limited given this particular situation? So these four things, they are the things that you are meant to look out for in determining the position that the organization will take. So these are just like, do we call it hints now, like a guide for you to know what your decision would be in the scenario at hand. Now, moving on from there is the concept of whistle blowing. But before that, I think I should give a short note on that on the platform so that everyone can take one or two things. So just pardon the silence while I type on the group. Okay, so moving on from there, let's talk about the concept of whistleblowing. Concept. Concept of whistle blowing. So when you hear whistle blowing, what comes to your mind? Mr. Deyemi Sunday, since it's been a while, I hear from you. When you hear whistle blowing, what comes to your mind?
I think it's a way of reporting a kind of illegality in any establishment or irregularity. Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. Can you speak a bit louder?
I said it's a way of reporting any irregularity or misdeed in an organization, bringing it to the notice of the appropriate quarter.
Okay. So it's what's the word I'm looking for now? We can say that it's a legal means, like you said, the legal channel of reporting cases, of reporting events that happen to the hearing of the management of an organization. And okay, someone is asking that which video and chapter in the material where we can find this. So refer to, let me check. I think I have it somewhere here. I recall I gave this last week. So apparently I want to believe that the person asking this question was not in my class last week. So refer to chapter 5 of the video lecture. I'm sure you should see something on whistleblowing there. So just check chapter 5 of the video lecture. You'll find something related to this there. Now, speaking further, every organization have their policies of whistleblowing. So there's what we call whistleblowing policy. And the idea behind whistleblowing is to create a safe environment for the staff to report cases and not feel intimidated or probably not feel insecure. We have had cases where people don't get to report cases that happened where they are privy to, just because they feel if they report such scenario, they might be victimized, or for the fear of losing their job. And that is the reason why whistleblowing concept came into play. That is to create a safe environment for staff where their voice can be heard and they can report cases or scenarios that could be detrimental to the growth of an organization. So that is the concept of whistleblowing. Meanwhile, before you can blow whistle, there are some certain factors that has to be considered. There are certain factors that has to be considered when you are blowing the whistle. There are certain factors that needs to be considered, and I will take those factors. I think I have about 6 or 7 here, and they are more than that, but you can get them in the video lectures. the first factors is that you need to check that all the facts are correct, and they will not be misinterpreted, or probably mistakenly we could draw the wrong conclusion from it. So when we are whistleblowing, we need to check, are all the factors right? Could there be anything that could be misunderstood? And that is why when we are whistleblowing, we don't depend on what we hear from someone. You know, I heard that, it seems that. No, we don't do that when we want to whistleblow. When we are whistleblowing, we have the facts and figures that we are talking about, and we can be sure that even, one of the things behind whistleblowing is that you have to be sure that even if a layman hears what you are saying, they will draw the same conclusion that you are drawing from that particular incident. Second to that is that you need to establish whether there is a scope to discuss events confidentially with the Human Resources Department. What we are saying here is that determine the channel. What channel has the organization put in place for us to blow the whistle? The organization differ from organization, and the way each the organization is structured is also different. So we need to understand what is the structure on ground in that particular organization, and so that we can know the appropriate channel to go when we want to whistleblow. Also, consider discussing events in confidence with an independent, confidential third party. And the idea behind this third point is so that we can establish our facts and figures, like carry out investigations, discuss with third party. What do you think? What would the person advise among your staff, among your colleagues, among your peers? Before you whistleblow to the management, have you taken your time to even find out what people are saying about that particular incident and what they feel should be done? Also, is there sufficient evidence to even blow the whistle? Like I said in the first point, you need to be sure that all your facts are correct. You have your facts and figures. If possible, you have pictorial evidence that you can show the management that this is actually what happened, and I have my evidence to back them up. We also need to consider if there's any legal obligation to report the matter, and is it possible to involve the audit department of the organization so that they can take up the case. So all these things that we are saying here is to say that whistleblowing is the last resort when it comes to cases like this in an organization. That is, when events happen, we need to make sure that all these facts and figures has been gathered, all these evidences has been looked into, and if there is nothing that could be done, then we can now whistleblow. So again, any question thus far? Any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on.
One of the you said consider discussing event in confidential with an independent third party. Now, in practice, is it really visible as in practice? Discussing, because of maybe the nature of the information, is it visible in real practice? Consider discussing the event in confidence with independent confidential third party. Hello, sir.
I can hear you. Please mute.
Okay.
Okay, so based on what you have said, like, is it really practical? I would say yes. Now, the reason being that when we say discuss it confidentially with a third party, every organization, now not for office gossip, everyone in an organization has someone that they confide in quotes. Now, it doesn't mean you are clique or something. But what I have seen practically over the years is that everybody has their go-to person. It may be in the organization, it may be for in fact, for most people, especially as it relates with work-related matter, you will see somebody that, I'm not referring to the top management now. I'm referring to people on the same pedestal, people who are just staff who have not gotten to the management level. People have friends, they have colleagues that they talk to. When the matter happen, before you know it, even at the management level at times, when we are discussing issues and we feel that we are not sure staff are aware, we'll be shocked that it's even one staff that we don't even know that he or she is aware of the matter that will be telling us what actually happened. So what we are saying here is that when you want to whistleblow to the management, ask someone. So that person that, other than, so when we say third party, we mean other than the person that is involved in this thing. So for instance, you have heard that somebody stole something and you have your facts, maybe you even have CCTV camera to back it up. We are saying that talk to somebody that you know that you can confide in the organization. You can explain the thing to the person. Oh, this is what I discovered that this person did. And I think in the best interest of the organization, I'm not sure that management is aware. And I think that not to victimize the person, but of course, to bring it to the notice of the management in an appropriate way. Now, the essence of seeking the person's advice, the person might say, you know what, I think that I'm not sure the person was the one that stole this thing that you're talking about. Maybe something else happened. So the essence of the third party really is to guide you. And of course, as you are discussing with the person, you are hoping that this person will not take it further. This person will not discuss it will not make it a public topic like you don't want it. So that is, and of course, I mean, when we are reporting, when we are whistleblowing, one thing that some organization has done is that when you are whistleblowing and you are reporting it to the management, they create a Google form, and when you fill it, it come out as anonymous. So your name is not being mentioned, nobody know who is whistleblowing and all of those things. So eventually, even if your friend later discover that you informed the management, it is easier to say that it wasn't your name. Any other person also could have known about the case at hand, and could have also whistleblown to the management for them to take action as deemed necessary. I don't know if I attempt to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Any other question before I put the note in the chat box? Any other question? Okay. I will mute while I put in the notes there. Okay, Ugochukwu. Hi, Ugochukwu, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so I wanted to ask this question that the whistleblower is expected to be protected in the case where there is a matter of maybe either fraudulent matter or something incriminating that could have happened in an organization. Now, if this person maybe in the course of investigating this matter that this person has blown the whistle for. Now, and I don't know, maybe this person now gets to be opened up that the protection he was supposed to actually enjoy was now opened. What becomes the fate of this person among his colleagues and maybe some other some other damage it may cause to the person's personality in the company and outside? Is there anything that could be done to salvage the situation? Thank you, sir.
So, if I understand your question, Ugochukwu, you are saying a situation where somebody whistleblown a matter and or probably want to whistleblow, but the person is thinking about his image among his peers and colleagues in an organization. That is there anything that the organization can do to salvage the matter such that the integrity and the image of that person is still protected within the organization? Does that summarizes your question?
No, sir. Not that the person is thinking what will happen to him if he whistleblows. No, I'm saying if the person has already whistleblown.
Okay.
So in a case where the person has whistleblown, it says.
I can't seem to hear you again, no. Can anyone hear Okoli?
No, sir, it's not talking again.
Okay.
Well, I think his question is there a cover? Is there a cover for whistleblower that having blow the whistle? What will be the fate of that fellow if there is no proper cover? I think that's what he was saying. If I get him right.
Okay. All right. So I would take Mr. Adeyemi's response that's what you are trying to say. Is there any cover for someone who has already whistleblown and in the organization? So I would say yes, there is a cover, and that is why we discussed about the approach, the step to take for whistleblowing when you want to whistleblow a matter in an organization. And first, it's the fact that when you whistleblow, you are kept anonymous. It's to even say that nobody even knows that you were the one that blew the whistle. So again, that is why whistleblowing concept is usually adoptable in a well-structured organization. Because, like I said, what we do is that there is what we call the process of whistleblowing. And like I mentioned, it's different from one organization to another. The best approach I see to it is that creating a form where you can fill, and it comes in such a way that it does not go to everybody. It's only selected. At times, some people form a committee that these are the people that will get the information that you are whistleblowing. And of course, before we can select this set of people, we have been able to build the trust in them based on their stay, their work, and all of those things. Organization has been able to develop some level of trust in them and their capability and their ability, maturity to handle issues, no matter the complexity. So in that case, these are the set of people that will get to hear about such matter, and because the management believe that they are in the position to better manage the situation. So I would say yes, there's a cover for the person, because this set of people will not inform the entire staff to even say that you are the one that blew the whistle, this was the person that blew the whistle, or what have you. And in a case where the person is being mentioned, that this is we get to know about this matter from Mr. ABC. Of course, it depends on how we now relate the issue to the member of staff. if it is properly related to the member of staff, and that is where balance, leadership, and maturity comes in. So if somebody has blown a whistle and you want to tell the staff that this is the person that blew the whistle, you will give reasons. You should give reasons why the person deem it fit to blow that kind of to bring that information to the hearing of the management. And again, it's like I said again, it depends on how you present the situation. If you don't present it in a way that would seems as if the person is the friend of management in quotes, but rather you present it in such a way that make people see that this person is just saying this for the growth of the organization at large, and of course putting the staff as well into consideration. Probably these are things that will cause harm to the entire organization in the future. I think it will be properly acceptable. It will be properly accepted. Adebayo Olusoji is saying, what if the organization is not well organized and structured, in which things are done anyhow they feel, and there's no checks and balance? In such case, should an individual whistleblow? So Adebayo, this still boils down to what we have said initially, saying that you have to look at whistleblowing concept different from organization to organization, right? And also it's also depends on the matter at hand. If it is something that you really do not have to whistleblow, then there's no point whistleblowing it. If it is something it's just a matter of what's it called now, calling the person in question, calling the attention of the person in question to it, and you guys can manage the issue at your level, you really do not have to whistleblow. And of course, if it's something that you feel that, okay, I think I can talk to this person's supervisor and he or she knows how to better manage it without informing the entire management team, yes, it's something that is also worth considering. So it depends on the organization in question, it depends on the issue at hand, and it also depends on the person. So if the organization is not structured, I would say that it also depends on the personality to which you are whistleblowing to. Some people will hear issues and they are able to manage it and ensure that it doesn't boomerang in any way. And some people will hear the same issue before you know it. It's to go haywire and it gets out of hand of the people who can successfully manage it well. So it depends on the case. It depends on other scenarios as well. Yeah. So that is how I will answer Adebayo. Ugochukwu, was I able to help?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So I'm putting in the steps, factors to be considered in whistleblowing. All right. So these are the factors to be considered when you want to whistleblow. So I thought it would also be good for us to look at the problems that are usually encountered with whistleblowing. So, and this will speak to the reason why some people would rather keep things to themselves than bringing it to the management notice. And of course, one of the reasons, there are several reasons, by the way, but one of it is actually experience, experience on previous matter. Some people looked at it and say, okay, in the past, when we escalated this particular scenario, how was it handled? Like I said, it depends on persons and all of those things. But people look at it that in the past, when I was blown, what was the impact? What was the repercussion? Was I victimized and all of those things? Then again, another reason why people don't whistleblow is that they look at the allegation itself about their colleagues or their managers. The allegation does not really hold ground. So, and because of that, just look at it that there's no really point of whistleblowing. That's the second thing. The third reason why people don't whistleblow is that by the time you go through the steps, I've given us some factors that that you should consider before whistleblowing. So really, by the time you go through those factors, eventually you will eventually discover that there is really no need to go about the route to go in the route of whistleblowing. So these are the major reasons why people don't end up whistleblowing. So I just thought to mention those reasons to us. Any question on what I just said?
No question.
Sorry, hold on. Is anyone someone was speaking?
No question, sir.
Okay. I thought I had Mr. Dibayo. So the next topic. So the next topic to be considered is factors to be considered when discharging your duties as an accountant. Discharging your duties. And I believe we know some of these factors already. Can we mention them or type them in the chat box? That is the when I mean factors now, I mean the quality of professionalism that you need to display when you are carrying out your duty as an accountant. What are those things that you must watch out for? What are those things that you must seek to achieve when you are carrying out your duty? Okay, I see integrity. Thank you. Can we have more? We have about 6 or 7, if not more than. Integrity, confidentiality. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Prudence.
Transparency.
Okay. I see accuracy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, since we already have that, I think I'll just move on to the next thing. Okay, integrity, confidentiality, transparency, accuracy. I can professional due care. Yeah, exactly. So diligence. Those are the factors that has to be considered. Those are the things you must aim to achieve when you are when you are discharging your responsibility as a chartered accountant. Objectivity is also key. I'm not sure I see that. Okay, objectivity. You have to be objective in your decision, whatever decision you are making, well, especially at the management level. You have to be objective, and of course, the organization comes first. So it has to be in the interest of the organization. So, and this even go beyond, I mean, it extends to personal interest. There's a thing that we say that organization come first even before personal interest. So you have to look at it as an accountant. It is for the good of all rather than for the good of individual. For the good of individual, the good of all, the good of the entire organization should be paramount when we are discharging our duties as an accountant. And I'm sure you must have heard it. That's one of the reasons why they say that accountants think differently. That there are some things that they would want to do. That so that accountants, they might have another view to it now. Just on a lighter note, I've had someone tell me that it's like when you are doing your ICANN, there's one injection that they used to give you people that you just become more prudent than you should be, especially when discharging your responsibility on the job as a chartered accountant. But I used to tell people, this just goes in line with the topic we are looking at this night, ethics, that it's just a matter of you doing the right thing, and of course, your work being able to speak for you when you are absent. And that is the essence of all this code of ethics that we're talking about. Integrity, you must exhibit integrity as an accountant such that even when you are not there, they can verify what you have said and confirm that it is true just the way you have portrayed it. You must display accuracy. There is no error. No error whatsoever is permitted. If it's not if the only error, like someone would say, is approximation error, if it is not an approximation error, then no, it shouldn't happen, right? Confidentiality, because of the role that you are going to, because of the role either that you are occupying or that you will occupy, there is need for, I mean, so many matters will be bring to your hearing. You will hear so many things, so many people will come and complain about different things and different issues. How you are able to manage them goes a very long way. You will get to know, I mean, as an accountant, you process people's salary, which is one thing that is highly confidential. Highly confidential. So you have to know how to manage it and all of those. So that's been said, that takes us to the next question. The next thing I want us to look at tonight, which is the reason for corporate code of ethics. Reason for corporate code of ethics. We have said that our topic tonight is professional code of ethics and sorry, 1 minute. That our topic for tonight is professional practice. Sorry, I meant to say professional practice and code of ethics. So we want to see what are the reasons. Why do we really need this code of ethics? Why are they essential? Why are they essential? What is the purpose for corporate code of ethics? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So the first reason why we need code of conduct, code of ethics is number one, for managing compliance. You know, there's a saying that where there is no rule, when there's no rule or where there's no law, there is no sin. And when you want to manage compliance and for every organization to be sure that staffs are complying to the laid down rules and regulation, it is important for us to have code of ethics. So code of ethics is what guides the behavior of staff in an organization to be sure that everyone is acting in a professional manner, and that everyone is well behaved. Now, also managing stakeholder relation. Is just the same way we have for our policies in our organizations. So code of ethics help us to manage our stakeholder relation. For instance, some people have a policy, they call it no gift policy. That is, it is not allowed on no occasion whatsoever should you collect gift, be it monetary or cash, be it monetary or in kind, from your customer. However, we have some organizations that they will put a peg to it that the maximum you can ever collect, even in kind, convertible to cash, should not be more than 10,000. So these things are code of ethics that are embedded in the way an organization operates, and it is there so that we can guide the morals and approach of our staff, and we can better manage the relationship between our clients and our employees. Another one, which is it is creating a value-based organization. So a company might recognize the long-term benefit of creating an ethical culture and they also encourage employees to act and think in a way that is consistent with the value in its code of ethics. So the code of ethics contains the values that are acceptable in an organization, the values that is expected from every employee to deploy on their job on a day-to-day basis. So by the time these values are contained there, so even if you forget as an employee, you forget what is expected of you, you can always refer back to this code of ethics to read what is there, to familiarize yourself with what the organization expects from you, and you can act in that manner. So I'm going to stop here tonight. Next week, God's willing, we're going to take our mid-diet question and answer. Mr. Adeyemi, you have the floor.
Please, thank you for the class and the previous one we had. Is there any way we can have this class? Are they recorded, and how can we have access to them so that I can still help us in our revision class?
I think, please mute. So I think admin can help us do that on the chat. You can just chat up admin on Telegram, so they could you can refer that question to them, because I think they are the one that manage the recordings of the class, and they will be able to advise how you can get access to the recordings after you've attended the class. So I don't manage that, but they are the one that admin manages are recording and transcribing, so they know how they can make it available to the students. So I forgot to mention at the beginning of the class that this week is our mid-diet. We are already in week 8, and that means that we need to start attempting our question and answer for the diet. So there are questions in the members area for you to answer. Questions cover what we have been preaching from week 1 to week 8. So you are expected to go through those questions, attempt them, and by the time we come next week, the most part of our time next week will be spent on looking at those questions and providing solutions to them before we look at the topic that we have for week 9. So I implore everyone, if you are not on the members area, or probably you don't have access to the question, please reach out to Starry Good Admin. They will let you know how you can have access to the question on the members area, that you can attempt it And like I told my other student, please time yourself. Time yourself. Of course, I know because it is CSM, most students don't end up spending the 3 hours, right? But it's just good for you to know, work with time, and so that you can know how to time yourself when you get to the examination hall. And the essence of the midnight exam is even for you to know how prepared am I for the forthcoming exam. If I'm not fully prepared, it's not too late. I can still go back to my drawing board and do things and prepare more and study hard. And I know that if we do this, the sky is just our starting point. So on this note, I want to thank everyone for joining this week's class. And please, next week is week 9. I'll give us topic for week 9 like I did last week. Week 9. Let me see. Okay, with next week we're going to be looking at governance, reporting, and disclosure. Reporting and disclosure. Let me put it on the chat box. So this is what we're going to be looking at next week. God helping us. And please, I implore everyone, read different materials about it, come up with questions, areas that need clarification. Please do not hesitate to ask questions by the time we come together again next week. So, and in the video lecture, hold on. So you can refer to chapter 8 and chapter 9. Refer to chapter 8 and chapter 9 of the video lecture to have access to the topic. Chapter 8 and chapter 9 of the video lecture, you can have access to it there, and then you can attempt as many questions as possible on the topic. Mr. Deyemi, is this an hold on before I end the class? Okay. All right. So on this note, I want to thank everyone for joining once more, and do have a great weekend ahead. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.